What's your name?
I'm Mike Hurd.
And what are your parents' names?
Roy Lee and Ruby Mae Roberts Hurd.
So you help take care of some cemeteries because of your heritage.
Absolutely, yeah. As it was mentioned here at our family reunion, the Roberts and the Palmer families are generally considered to be intertwined in many generations. One of the original Palmers in this country, or this part of the world anyway, was George Monroe Palmer and wife Dolly Angeline Herring Palmer, and they're buried at the original Palmer Cemetery, located in Carr's Chapel community. And also there's the John Roberts Cemetery, also located in the Carr's Chapel community. The John Roberts, the reason it's important to me is that my grandma and grandpa, Baxter and Millie Angeline Palmer Hurd, are buried in the John Roberts Cemetery. My grandma, Millie, is named for her grandmother, Dolly Angeline Herring Palmer. And many years ago, I witnessed the fact that my grandma was insistent upon her brothers, Ewan and Norman, making sure that the original Palmer Cemetery was taken care of. And so in honor of my grandma, and especially family connections, I chose to involve myself with the John Roberts Cemetery, taking care of my grandparents as well as the Robertses. We're sort of kind of intertwined, being my mom was a Roberts, as well as the Smithers Cemetery in Boma, involved with that some. One of the things that's considered years ago, after the Civil War had ended, there were some cemeteries on the Tucker Ridge that were considered Confederate cemeteries, and the Roberts families that I'm aware of in this community were all Unionist. So the John Roberts Cemetery has 3 Union soldiers buried in there. There's a story told about one of the gentlemen, and I don't know which one, was married to a lady that grew up on the Tucker Ridge, and when he passed away, she wanted to bury him in her family cemetery, and the family would not allow that to happen. So in the dead of night, they slipped and put one of these gentlemen in the John Roberts Cemetery, and thus adds to the flavor of the story. But in my world, in my viewing of today, one of our cousins, Jeff Henley, his mother was Flossie Roberts Henley.
That's my family.
Right.
Zola was Flossie's sister.
Okay.
And that's my great-grandmother.
So do you know the name Kenneth Roberts?
Yes.
Kenneth. Now there's 3 Kenneths. There's 3 Kenneths.
Zola's brother.
Okay. Now we've narrowed it down to the right one.
Yes.
So that Kenneth was taking care of the cemetery there until he passed away. Nobody was taking care of it, and so my commitment to my grandparents, and especially my grandma, I chose to help take care of the cemetery. And when Jeff was a teenager, he was considered a redneck rebel, and he OD'd and passed away. And some of his friends, yes. Yeah, and today, if you go down there, you'll see a flagpole when his brothers, let's call them, his motorcycle buddies, they put up a flagpole and chose to fly a rebel flag. So you have a Union cemetery with a rebel flag. Now our world is divisive, okay, and it makes nothing to me. It means nothing. This cemetery is like many cemeteries. None of us would be here without our ancestry. Okay? And we all have a story. You have a Union cemetery with a rebel of current times with a rebel flag there. And when we went in there about 10 years ago to clean up the cemetery, because it had become, after Kenneth had passed away, some things had slipped. So when I and Tommy and Angela and some others went in to clean it up, we were there that day cleaning it up. and one of Jeff's buddies stopped by and he wanted to know what was going on. And we told him we were cleaning it up. And he said he played football in high school with Jeff. And I asked him, I said, you see the rebel flag there? I said, it's tattered. It's half of it's gone. Do us a favor. Put a new rebel flag up and honor your friend. Within 24 hours, there was a new flag put up. About 5 years ago, a tornado came through here. It's well documented on Highway 70. It also messed up the flag, that wind that came through. Well, within just a short period of time, that flag was replaced again by his friends. Today, it's in need of repair, and I have no contact with whoever. The gentleman's last name was Brown, but I don't really know who he is. If I were to contact him and I'd ask him to put up another flag, I'm sure he would.
So did you know Flossie and her siblings?
I did.
My great-grandmother?
I knew Kenneth and Flossie, but beyond that, I do not.
What about their parents? Did you know their parents? You're probably too young.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Well, do you have any other stories about the Roberts or this area?
Well,
that you tell?
You can imagine that when someone has lived 62 years in a community, and my dad was a barber, my grandpa Baxter worked on the railroad, and in those days the railroad was a good job. So a lot of things that I do are connected with my ancestry. I fried some pies here for a reunion. That's my grandma's thing. But in genealogy, there's some folks that are interested and some aren't. But because of my daughter as a teenager, she wanted to know who her ancestry was. So we have chose to gain as much information as we can. But we often go through grave sites to not only think about it, but to know where they're at.
Have you gone to grave sites far away from here?
Wabash, Indiana.
Oh, okay.
That's the farthest way. If you take what I call my cornerstones, which is the Herds, the Robertses, the Palmers, and the Austins, okay, you can date those four families back to this area to at least 1850. Okay.
And how is that last name Herd spelled?
H-E-R-D. H-E-R-D.
Got it.
The story behind the herd that I have heard, okay, is that our ancestry was indebted to a king. He took care of the herds. He was known as the herdsman. But when he migrated to the United States, the original, the M-A-N got dropped. So it's simply herd. Well, that's true or not, I don't know, but that's the story, and I'll stick to it.
That's great.